And welcome back to Street Level. Right, last week I mentioned that I'd be getting Crass on. I was trying to put the interview together for an hour, I mentioned, but unfortunately the guys are a bit late arriving to the Middlesbrough Town Hall today. Now, Crass are appearing at the Middlesbrough Town Hall Crypt this evening. They were due to arrive at 3, the interview was due to start off then, but unfortunately they didn't arrive until 4:45. No problems of theirs, really. They were held up on the road, and, there's no hassle there at all. Anyway, I spoke to Andy Palmer of Crass. Now, Crass are possibly one of the most controversial bands in Britain. They get a bit of a hammering in the press when they appear in the press. And so my first question to Andy Palmer was really, with the bad feeling and the bad vibes that actually do come from some of the music press, do they actually go out to shun the press?
Oh, we don't deliberately shun publicity, but our policy in the past has been to try and develop some sort of relationship with a potential interviewer before we commit ourselves to doing an actual interview. So if somebody rings up and says, do you want to do an interview with us off the music press, we'll say to them, well, it seems a bit abstract for us to be talking to you and not even knowing where you're coming from. So why don't you come out and see us for an afternoon, and then we can sort of find out more about each other, and then we'll do the interview after that. Well, in the past, it's happened repeatedly that the person has come out to do that sort of run through with us, and the result has been that there's been some sort of derogatory thing printed in the press before the time that the interview was meant to come out, so the trust that we might have developed with that person has instantly been thrown out of the window, and that's happened so many times now that we just don't feel that we could do anything honest with the press, because the press is such a dishonest medium. It's financed by commercial concerns that we have nothing to do with, and we never want to have anything to do with, because it's corrupt. The music business is corrupt, the money in it is corrupt, and the music press is an organ of the music business, so there's not very much that they can do for us. Obviously we put our gigs in to advertise them, because that's a good way of doing that, but I think that's all they're good for, really.
But having said that, whether you like it or not, you are, I suppose, part of the music business.
Well, we are part of the music business, but I feel that everything that we do within that business is honest. We say honestly what we feel, what we mean, what we say on our records. We put our records out for prices that we consider are an honest representation of how much it's cost us to do it. We charge an honest price at gigs of how much it costs us to do it again. We feel that we give as much as we can give, possibly. It's a good medium. It's a good medium. We've chosen that medium because it's effective. But in doing that, you don't have to be corrupt. What we're trying to prove is that you can do it in an honest way. You can be effective without ripping people off. Well, initially we started out because the energy going around was, go out and do it yourself. Everybody can do it. Everybody can go out and say things. I felt that a lot of the early bands became sort of preaching. Like Jimmy Sham, for example, saw himself as some sort of reincarnation of a political leader or something like that. We feel that we have got something to say, but that is to people to think about what they're doing, think that the life that they lead actually what they want to lead, and to prove through what we're doing that if you don't want to lead life the way that you're told that you should lead it, that you can do it in a different way, which will possibly be a lot more fulfilling. That's the initial feeling behind what we're doing. Obviously specific things come into that, like our interest in the peace movement, our interest in the feminist movement, none of which we're actually specifically aligned to. We have our own views on all those things, which might line up with some political party, but we're not lined up to any political party at all.
Do you think your music really can affect any big changes, big social changes?
Well, I think the biggest social change that you can have is if somebody comes along to a gig and thinks, yes, that's made me think, and they go home and they sit down and they go to bed or whatever and have a cup of tea and they think about it. I think that is affecting a really big social change. I don't think that necessarily social change is 50,000 people on a rally in Hyde Park. You know, if one person goes away from the gig tonight thinking, well, maybe what I'm doing, you know, maybe the fact that I'm going down the pub and then going home and beating up my wife is bad, you know, maybe the way that I lead my life isn't the way that I want to lead it, then that, as far as I'm concerned, it's been worthwhile coming here. And that's social change, and that's how it starts. You know, it doesn't start through big political campaigns. It starts from people, and people are what's important. People are what's important to me.
Welcome back to Street Level. Now, the appearance of Crass for some people is regarded as being very austere indeed. The band and its followers usually prefer to dress in black. Now, some people in the press particularly have described this as being, well, almost bordering on the fascist. And speaking to Andy Palmer today, I put this to him that, you know, didn't this rather sort of contradict, that the appearance contradicts some of the earlier political statements, particularly when they're saying they've been associated with the peace movement, the feminist movement. And my next question to Andy was, well, do they actually deliberately go out to create this austere image?
I don't think that you can say what we're saying anymore. You know, it's too urgent what we're saying to be able to say it with an acoustic guitar and a joint in your mouth on the stage. And, you know, you can't, it's flower power's out the window now. And what we present is austere, and it is confronting, yes, I agree with that. And we spend a lot of time to make it like that. And we aren't like, I mean, you'll see if, and the people at the gig will see tonight, okay, we have an hour during which we do the set that we worked out, but for the rest of the time we'll be walking about and chatting and laughing. But what we've got to say, we mean it, and we take it very seriously. So it does come across as being a confronting display, which is, and you can't say peace, you can't say you want peace, you know, all we're saying is give peace a chance with a chant with everyone. You can't say that anymore because it doesn't have any effect, and we are trying to have an effect through doing it. I mean, you know, 4 years ago we put the peace banner up, as we will do tonight at a gig, and there was a write-up in the press saying, oh yeah, very risque, Crass, sort of posing with the peace banner, you know, wanked out old hippies. Now it's become very sort of hip and trendy to do benefits for the peace movement and to wear a peace sign. I mean, that's good in a way, but I mean, we'll continue doing it when the bands, that when it doesn't become trendy to do it anymore, we'll still be doing it because it's that important to us.
Wouldn't it have been perhaps better for Crass to have put all its efforts into a political party as opposed to into playing music?
No, because that's ramming things down people's throats. I'm not interested in people using what we have to say as a sort of scapegoat. I mean, what we're saying is that people should you know, possibly think for themselves and then come up with their own ideas. I don't feel that we put forward anything which is sort of mouthable parrot fashion. That I see as the main drawback with the political parties, that if you've read the right books, you've seen the right pamphlets, you can repeat it off pat and you don't have to think about it. So we don't align ourselves to any political party for that reason.
Where do you think Crass will be in 5 years' time?
Oh, God knows. I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow, let alone in 5 years' time. That's that. I mean, the whole way that we do it has been that none of what we do has ever been planned out. I mean, we started out doing it just as... we never really thought that anyone would take us seriously. We had something to say. We knew that the Sex Pistols and the Clash could say those things, so we thought, well, we'll go out and have a go ourselves. We did it for 18 months, and nobody really took any notice of us. We were really frightened of getting up on the stage and saying the sorts of things that we were saying because they hadn't been said before. And it just developed from there. People started coming to see us. We started taking ourselves a bit more seriously so that we could present a more coherent message or image or whatever.
The Sex Pistols have gone. Some say the Clash have now sold out or signed up to CBS. Do you see yourselves as a bit of a, I don't know, a dinosaur in the 80s?
I think we possibly are, because there's nothing yes, the Clash have sold out and the Sex Pistols have gone. There's nothing that system, that way of operation can offer us. So that won't happen to us because there's nothing that can offer us. I mean, people are always coming up to us and saying, you know, don't sell out, or I know you're going to sell out, or whatever, as if asking for reaffirmation from us that we aren't going to do it. Well, there's no reason for us to do it because we have we are able to say what we want to say in what I consider to be an extremely effective way. So what has CBS or AMI got to offer us? Fuck all. You know?
How long do you see Crass going on for?
As long as there's something to say, we'll carry on saying it. Maybe not in the form of Crass. You know, if tomorrow somebody decides that they don't want to be in the band anymore, then Crass won't exist. But everyone, all the individuals in the band will carry on doing things in the same vein, but maybe in a different way. Maybe through, I mean, we put out newspapers, we do films and videos. I mean, the band just happens to be a vehicle at the moment which is the most effective. We've always done things like this. And we always will do things like this.
Crass and Walls. Before that we heard the Gasman Kemeth, before that Tired, and before that Demoncrats. And many thanks to Andy Palmer from Crass for giving me that interview. We really pushed this afternoon. As I say, I was trying to get into an hour's feature tonight, but a half hour, I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Andy would like to say that, well, he'd like to have made it longer, but there's lots of problems getting the band up here this afternoon. Remember, they're appearing at the Middlesbrough Town Hall Crypt this evening, and they're over at the Ferry Hill Station 101 Club tomorrow night, and there's a bus leaving from Darlington at 7 o'clock outside the Boot and Shoe. Time on Tees is 4 minutes away from 8 o'clock.